Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will call this meeting to order. The purpose of this meeting is to set a tentative millage rate and a tentative budget. The proposed Walton County Commissioners countywide millage rate is 3.6363 mills and 0.4912 mills for the North Walton Mosquito Control District. The aggregate, this is an 8.43% increase over the rollback rate. The rollback rate is the rate that would essentially aggregate the same ad valorem tax revenues as last year, the county-wide 3.6363 mills, which are applied to the general, county transportation, fine and forfeiture, and capital projects infrastructure funds, is the same as fiscal year 2015-16 rate, which was 3.6363 mills. The 0.4912 millage rate for the North Walton Mosquito Control District is the same as fiscal year 2015-2016 rate, which was 0.4912 mills. County Finance Director.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just to briefly review the changes that have been made since the budget workshop in July. We added $12,938 to begin a contribution for a South Walton Senior Center, and this was to match the same contribution that is being made to the Defuniak Springs Senior Center. TDC code enforcement officers were added to bring the total to 10 code officers, and also applicable equipment and training have been added for those positions to support those. The TDC is still in discussion regarding funding possibilities for Friends of South Walton Turtles. Sufficient funding is included in the TDC's contingency budget for a fiscal year 17 contribution pending approval by the TDC Advisory Council and then approval by the board. A cost of living increase of 4% has been included for employees earning $60,000 or less based on a 40-hour work week, and 3% for employees earning above $60,000 a year. And as in prior years, an increase of 1.5% has been included for probationary employees. And the reason we've done this in the past 2 years, the reason we included it is because we do have employees who have been with the county for several years. They'll transfer to another job and they are on probationary status. So this is to not completely exclude them from any cost of living increase. Okay. And those are and I was also going to mention that design, as you know, is underway on the landfill. We anticipate utilizing landfill reserves for the new transfer station. That has not been included in this budget. I just wanted to mention it. That way, as we get further in the process, when we get cost estimates for the transfer station, we are looking at that as a funding source. And those are the changes we have since the July workshop.
All right. I need a motion, please, to open a public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We now need to consider a resolution adopting the tentative millage rate and a resolution adopting the tentative budget. We have time now for public discussion. Is there anyone that would like to come forward and speak at this time?
I have something I need to add.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not $5 million, but really, it's not $5 million. It's $130,000 for US 98 median maintenance enhancement project that would enhance the medians along the roadways, which are traveled by no less than 51,000 average daily trips a day. On an average, 51,000 cars go by there. It is our tourist corridor. It is an economic driver. It would be additional jobs for people who are in the landscaping and maintenance business. And I like to look at it as the mossy head of South Walton. It is an economic driver, and so we need to keep it clean. And currently the DOT only mows 5 days before an election. And so they make you move your signs 5 days before an election. That's really when they like to get out there and mow. And so, and then maybe once every other year. But this would allow or provide that instead of 12 times to pick up trash, they'd pick it up 18 times. And mowing would go from 7 times to 18 times. Edging would go from 12 to 18 times. And weed control is not included. But basically $131,000 would do the job. And I would like to add that in the budget this year to go ahead and get that done, because we just can't afford to let our Mossy Head corridor down here just grow into weeds like it's doing.
You are good. You are good.
Madam Chair,
yeah.
I'd like to comment on it because I reviewed the plan and I concur with keeping this looking good. And if you take a look at the areas that are involved, it's where the bulk of the TDC bed tax collections are occurring. It's in areas that are gateways, and I mean the gateways are coming from the west, coming from the east, action coming across the 331 bridge. I don't know if it would require a legislative finding in order to do this with a TDC, but certainly if you take a look at it, and she just gave the traffic counts there, I mean, that's more cars than you've got basically people in the county. So it's got to be heavily used from a tourist standpoint. So I would support that if we can make an appropriate legislative finding.
So TDC dollars could be used for it.
The only limitation, the only concern I have is the length of the corridor or the length of the gateway. There's just nothing particularly definitive that we would have to make again, if you make a legislative finding, I don't know if there would be an issue, but you would have to make a legislative finding that this section is the gateway, this section is the gateway. That'd be my.
But I think it's more than just the gateway aspect of it. I think when you take a look at where the bulk of the TDT collections are made, these are sections of the roadway that would be impacted by this and would serve to enhance the fact that this is where the tourists are all heading to, and this is the area that they're using to get to their locations.
And I think it's not only that. Okay, so they enter one of these 3 places, but yet they are traveling to the shops, they're traveling to restaurants, they're traveling the entire length of 98.
Yeah,
It is
a tourist corridor. Yeah,
they're using the corridor the whole time that they are here. And to me, just meant by it would not be appropriate to say have it nice here, here, and here, and then leave the middles.
Could we fund it through the budget, and then if we got since we're doing the budget now, and then if we got the TDC opinion and all that, then we could shift it over to TDC. But for now, we could put it in the budget so that we know that it's going to happen. I was going to take it out of your
out of my office account.
Out of your office. Yeah.
I'll go
well,
for that.
you know, we could take it out of the TIF funding, because I know a lot of the TIF funding gets shifted around depending on what jobs can get done and which jobs can't get done, and based on permitting and all that kind of thing. So $131,000 is really, minute compared.
And then
that would be the fallback position if we can't use.
Yeah. The
TDT.
fallback position would be use TIF funds.
And I think if I heard Mark, I think there's some confidence that a certain portions
Segment
of
of
it
it
would.
could, yeah.
So I think if
So
that's
it
the way
might
you want
even
to
be
go.
it might even be a 30-30 split. 30-30-30 split or something like that.
But
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Hudson.
if you simply said fund what you can out of the TDC and the remainder out of the TIF, would that be the action?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Okay.
that would work, because we're.
And then we could replace it if we could fund it all out of TDC, then we could replace the funds
Exactly.
in the TIF. Yeah. Mr.
May
Hudson.
I,
Would you
Madam
state your
Chair?
name for the record, please, and spell your last name?
We have other commissioners.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pay attention.
I'm sorry, sir. I didn't see you.
I know.
Well, she was in the way, okay?
Speak up a little louder. Commissioner, is this, the amount of funding here, is this to take care of the entire stretch of 98 or just the gateways coming in?
Yeah, this takes care of, there's a section, I think it takes care of the whole 26.4 miles.
Okay, thank you.
Because it includes, but all of that is not, some of it's paid for by DOT, some of it's done privately, Some of it's done by, so it would include the entire,
But it doesn't include, if I remember from my meeting with the folks the other day, some of this, you're right, is being taken care of by other agencies. So this will take care of what is not being taken care of by other agencies.
right, and like the 6 laning down there, that'll be done after the 6 laning's done, and that'll be done by, so it's not.
Yeah. DOT will take care of that for 2 years after, once it's done.
Right, and that was my follow-up question. DOT is going to give us money for the gateway leaving South Walton and then north, amount of money north of the bridge too?
They're going to take care of the bridge, right? Then they're going to take care of, once 98 is 6-laned, in Okaloosa County, to a certain distance, they're going to take care of that once it's 6-laned.
Right.
And we covered, maintenance will be covered for up to 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I got that right. Now then, anybody else? I'm sorry, sir, would you sit up, please? Mr. Hudson. Yes.
For the record, my name is Bob Hudson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Walton County Taxpayers Association. Up until about 5 minutes ago, I didn't think I was going to say anything today, but as usual, we have what I call the outflyer that comes in at the last minute. I don't have any problem with people mowing the grass on the gateways. I live on a gateway. It's called 393 South. 5 feet off the road, the grass is 6 feet tall, and people travel that every day. I'm not standing here saying we should use funds to mow that grass deeper or whatever it happens to be, but I stood before this commission and supported TIF funding for certain things, TIF funding for infrastructure and roads. And that didn't mean mowing grass on the side of the road. So if you plan to use TIF funding, I object to that, because that money should be used as it was delegated at the beginning. None of this, well, it's roads because we're mowing the grass. But I understand if you could pay for it with TDC funds, have fun. Y'all are just spending that money so fast, ain't gonna be nothing left very long. But I think you got to keep it in perspective as to what we're doing. We all know who you met with. We all know who's behind this. And I don't have a disagreement with that. But I think we have other priorities. We've got tremendous infrastructure needs. We have tremendous road needs. And I don't know about spending, and I know it's $131,000. That's what everybody says about every $100,000 we spend. It's just $100,000. But I do think you should seriously limit this funding. If you want to pay for it, I'll be back if you decide to pay for it with ad valorem tax dollars. But I am going to surely be here if you say you're going to pay for it with TDC, with TIF funding. Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience? As Jay, as you come on forward, Melissa, do we have enough in contingency that we could take it out of there for now and then, pay it back once the TDC, we get clearance that we can use TDC funding?
Yes, ma'am, we could move forward if the board wishes to that way.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just real quick, just so we know what we're all talking about for the entire length of the county, the TDC had committed to mowing and keeping the maintenance of the gateways at a price of almost $58,000. So I just want to let you know that was not included in the figure that Commissioner Meadows was just mentioning a few minutes ago. So I spoke with Mark and I spoke with Clay about the gateways and about the entirety of it, and we were comfortable with the gateways. So if we're going to look at the whole thing, that's something that we're going to have to look at in the process and see if it's something that we can do and make sure that we're comfortable moving forward with that. So I just want to let you know, though, that we were committed to $57,000, almost $58,000 for the gateways.
So this would be like, if we dumped it all on you, it'd be roughly $180,000.
Correct.
Okay.
190.
Okay. Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
So do I need to make a motion to that effect? But I would move that we would add $131,000 to the contingency funds in anticipation that we may be able to use the TDC funds for part of it.
Just to clarify, are we adding to the contingency funds or just assuming that we've got 400,000 in contingency going into the budget for next year? Are we just stating that if we are unable to use TDC funds for this, we would pull it out of that 400,000?
I think that's what we were saying.
Okay.
Is that your motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's her motion.
Yeah. I think you can, you can fix infrastructure all day long.
I'm not sure that even requires a motion because you're not
No,
taking
sir.
an action until after October 1st on that.
Okay.
But you have a
Okay.
plan of
You don't
action,
have to-
it's like a direction to the
Okay.
board to go this way.
Okay.
And in the meantime, determine, yeah.
Okay. So you're asking that that be added to the budget?
Yes.
Then- okay.
Yes.
No,
And then-
and we don't vote on it?
Okay.
Just as a
Okay.
point of clarification, the 58,000 that was agreed on, what was decided that the gateway actually was? Was it just 331, or did it go all, I saw a map that went all the way down to Grayton, or,
Lee, do you have your map that you could show us?
okay.
Do you want to?
Here,
Talk about
here,
it,
here you
'cause
go.
you probably know it a little bit better than I do.
I have the map. I have a map. I have the map. I think this is, yeah, okay. Here's the map. Let me, yeah, then you can talk from that because I think this is all, I think this is the same.
I guess what I'm asking is, what is the 58,000 going to pay for?
Okay, so what we looked at when we looked at the map was the gateways we determined, we were already committed to the 331 south of the bridge, 298, so that was not included in this. So we looked basically at from 331 over to Blue Mountain Road, and then back over to 283 north. So it was a pretty wide gateway that we established there. It was about a mile and a half, 2 miles. And then we also, over on the Bay County side, that was about 1.2 miles we determined there. And right now, we said a mile over on the Okaloosa County line. But we said we would not take that up in the financial calculations we did. We wouldn't take that up until the roadway was completed. And I don't think that's for 2 years, 3 years, Lee? 3? Yeah. Right, so that was something that we wouldn't have to take over for quite some time, 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Is that the correct map?
That is correct.
Okay, we could pass it down whenever we look at it. I just don't have more than one. Yeah, here's kind of what it looks like. Yeah. But anyway, so are we gonna do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that good?
And then at the next hearing, we will decide whether or not it is included in the budget. Okay. Mr. Brooks?
Bob Brook, B-R-O-O-K-E. I have a question based on the numbers I just heard. It sounded to me like there was somewhere on the order of 5 miles or less that was going to be covered by the $57,000 that the TDC is going to contribute. And for $137,000, you're going to get 21 miles approximately covered. The arithmetic doesn't add up to me, but maybe someone here can explain where I'm not seeing the right numbers add up. Thank you.
Here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
I think it's level of service. Right. How many times they're going to mow it and cut it?
Yeah.
And prune it? And
Yeah,
Lee says no.
yeah. She's got more. I think it's 10 miles.
The reason for the difference is that FDOT, whenever a local jurisdiction takes over the maintenance of medians that they're maintaining, they make a contribution to basically equal to the amount that they are spending when they are maintaining it. And so that contribution is going toward the county's portion there, and the county's doing a much larger portion.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so it looks
that's
like,
the reason for the difference.
The DOT's contribution is estimated at about $36,000 on this, what I have here.
Yeah, because it's partial year for the first year. That's
7
right.
months, yeah, for this coming year, yeah. anyway.
All right. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on the budget or the millage rate at this point? Bob, you look like yes.
I'm unclear what the motion is.
We don't have a motion. Mr. Davis says we see if we can work it in. We don't.
It's a tentative budget, so when we
It's
come back to
tentative.
the final budget, it would be part of the final budget. If the commission wants to take it out, they can do it at that point.
Yeah.
This is a proposed tentative budget. So
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you had 400,000 in contingency, and you're reducing it to 32.7 out.
Correct. So that was my question earlier. Do I need to add 131,000? Okay, so I can add it, just go ahead and add it to the overall budget.
We can take things out, but yeah.
At the time of the final budget.
And then we vote to either do it or not do it at the final budget hearing.
When is the final hearing?
2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks.
Mr. Brooks, come up to this. Yeah. When is it?
In 2 weeks.
In 2
from
weeks.
today.
Yeah.
So
In 2 weeks.
in
Yeah.
2 weeks, we should have an Attorney General opinion on if we can use TDC funds to do.
I don't think we'll have that in that time, but we'll certainly.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Bob Brook, B-R-O-O-K-E. I'm confused again, and
Okay.
that may not be an unusual situation for me.
You're
But-
not the only one, Bob.
But did I understand that you're going to add $137,000 to the budget total, which will also include some slight or minuscule increase in the millage rate to cover that? Or you're going to allocate $137,000 from the $400,000 contingency budget until such time as you decide how this is actually going to be funded?
Tentatively, we are taking it out of contingency for right now, contingency funds.
You're
Tell me,
tentatively, I'm sorry, excuse me.
We're not allowed to increase the millage rate.
Yeah, we're not allowed to increase the millage rate. We can't do that.
Workshop, we
So-
cannot increase it.
So we've got to take it out of some fund somewhere.
Okay, that was my question.
Tentatively today, we're going to take it out of contingency. Okay,
What I would advise doing is going ahead and increasing the TDC budget by $131,000, and that way it's in theirs, and if we find out in 2 weeks we need the board to pay for it, we can always take it out of the contingency there and get
Okay.
rid of the TDC
so we're going to take it out of TDC funds. Okay,
for the next 2 weeks, yes,
for the
ma'am.
next 2 weeks anyway.
Okay,
Yes.
that clarifies it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It clarifies it for me too, because I didn't understand that either. But if we decide at our next meeting to know we're not going to do this, we're going to do maybe less or some portion or not at all, then we will finalize it in 2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
Because, I mean, I could say, let's buy butterflies right now, and it could tentatively be in the budget, but in 2 weeks, we could say, no, we're not going to buy butterflies, you know. Okay.
They only have a 2-week lifespan, so they'd be dead.
Correct, okay. Well, you know. Is anyone else would like to speak at this time? Okay, I need a motion to adopt a resolution to set the tentative millage rates for the countywide plus North Walton Mosquito Control District.
And those tentatively would be a tentative countywide millage rate of 3.6363 mils and a tentative millage rate of 0.4912 mils for North Walton mosquito control.
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
He was wanting to go up.
You just gave Melissa a heart attack. All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to adopt a resolution to set the tentative budget for fiscal year 2016-17.
And to give you the amounts on those, we're requesting that the board consider a resolution to adopt a tentative budget of $138,205,700. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm reading my original one. Let me get the one with the 131,000 in it. We are requesting that the board consider a resolution to adopt a tentative budget of $138,336,764 for county government, of which $612,986 is for North Walton Mosquito Control District.
All right, I need a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Very good. I need a motion to please close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to adjourn. Thank you.